But the prospect is over here, living in their story, wondering if the status quo is safe or if they're at risk of something. What threats, challenges, new obligations, or potential opportunities they're missing. At what cost? That's why the best salespeople in the world know they need to answer a different question first. They need to answer the question, why change? Why change? It's the expert conversations about those potential problems and how they can be solved that executives say is 4 times more important to them than relationships and product knowledge. But the majority of companies miss that story, and they're missing the skills to tell that story. It's the salespeople that can tell a great why change story with the skills and the expertise that executive decision makers want that will create that differentiation that you're looking for and create the competitive separation that you need when the buying process does begin to move more to that right-hand side. Now, does this mean that answering the why you question is unimportant? Obviously not. Heavens no. You still have to answer that question, and you need to answer it great. But you also need to answer the question, why change? During this course, you're going to learn how to create your why change story and your why you story. And you'll learn the necessary conversation skills to make both of those messages come alive. Now, to give you a sense of the potential impact of this work, a little while ago, Corporate Visions worked with a company called Interwise. And if you haven't heard of them, you don't really need to know anything about the company. Just know that they're in the technology space and they sell web conferencing software and equipment. But that's not really what's important to know. What's important to know is the challenge that they faced in the market. When they went out and met with prospects, often at the end of those meetings, their prospects would say, yeah, you seem like you're just the same as your competition. Now, when a prospect sees you as the same as your competition, if you're going to win any business, how are you going to win it? Right? Exactly. That's right, on price. And that's a hard way to go through life, trying to win on price all of the time. It always seems like there's somebody just a little bit more desperate than you are at the end of every quarter. Right? So that was their challenge. They decided they needed some help and they reached out to us. So we sent a consultant out to their business in their Boston offices to work with their senior executives over a couple of days in a positioning workshop to come up with a story for their field representatives to tell. Now, on the first morning of the first day of this workshop, one of those Interwise executives said to our consultant, so we've paid Gartner, and if you don't know who Gartner is, they are a technology analyst firm. They're very powerful. Their recommendations, they can move whole markets. Right? So this Interwise guy said, we've paid Gartner to take a look at our business and compare us to our competition. And the phone call where they're going to give us that report is this morning. Would you like to listen in? And our consultant said, sure, right? This is perfect. It's a great way to start a positioning event. Let's hear what these powerful analysts have to say about your business. So you need to picture the next scene. Right? They're all in a boardroom with one of those giant boardroom tables. And there in the middle, they've got a Polycom telephone and all the microphones around the outside of the boardroom table. And all the Interwise executives they're excited to hear what the Gartner analysts have to say. And on the other end of the phone call are these powerful analysts. Here's what Gartner had to say. He said, well, we spent the last several months comparing you to your competition. And as nearly as we can tell, there's nothing different about you. And because there's nothing different about you, and because you're one of the smaller players in this space, our recommendation is that you take the next 6 months and close as much business as you can, and then sell this company, because you're never going to survive. Right? Can you just imagine being one of those Interwise executives? There you are, all excited to hear what they're going to say. And that's what you hear? What do? So at this point, our corporate visions consultant turns to the Interwise executives and says, so what do you want to do now? And to their credit, maybe because they're not quitters, or maybe because they felt like they had no choice, they said, let's continue with the workshop. So they spent the next couple of days coming up with the story that they wanted all of their field people to tell. And then they spent the next 30 days training their salespeople on how to deliver that story. Then, just 90 days after they had found themselves on that phone call, they're at a technology trade show. One of those trade shows where you have a booth, right? And you show your stuff for 3 days. You say, come on in. Now, this trade show happened to be sponsored by Gartner. And that's when an amazing thing happened. At that trade show, they were voted best technology in the show. That's pretty amazing, considering 90 days earlier, they were told there was nothing different about them. And then 90 days later, they were voted best technology at the show. Now, what's even more amazing is that nothing in their core technology had changed. They did the basic stuff you do with any technology company. Patches, maintenance, fixes, that kind of stuff. But nothing in their core technology had changed. So what did change? What changed were the words that came out of their salespeople's mouths. What changed was the story they told. And in the final analysis, it's not the best technology or the best solution that wins. It's the best story.